We're just hanging out, and by the time we get like closer to the door, I look through the window. Lo and behold, there's my boyfriend grinding all over this girl. Hi guys, welcome back to Scream Queen's Dream. I'm your host, Heather Dorff.
And I'm Jessica Campin.
And we have another one of your favorite episodes. We have a hot tub story time. This one is going to be about our craziest breakups.
You're first.
Okay. So you guys actually requested this without knowing. I think I randomly mentioned in another episode about punching a guy in the face once at a club. That's what this story is about. So, spoiler alert.
We don't get a lot of feisty stories around here.
To be fair, I'm not one usually to do this, and I don't condone hitting people, but I was very drunk and very angry, and I may have overreacted. I'm just saying. Okay. So basically, many moons ago, in a land far, far away called Chicago, I was dating this guy who I worked with at a restaurant who I was really into, but who was a bit of a he was a great guy, but he was like really gorgeous, and a lot of girls hit on him all the time, and it made me sort of self-conscious because I'm a bit shy. I'm a bit self-conscious anyways, but I'm also like kind of shy and all these things. I wasn't used to having to date a guy who I had to have like a bat for to keep girls off of. Well, we were living together for a while, and we also went to school together, and we worked together. Did I mention I'm introverted? Oh.
How old were you?
How old was I? 20 and 21.
Okay.
Yeah, around there. So fast forward, we've been together I think about 7 months ish, maybe a little bit longer at this point. And one day there's like a bit of a blizzard, and he was supposed to be home from work and he wasn't. So I waited like an hour. We only worked about 10 minutes away, and then I got worried, so I called work and I'm like, hey, can I talk to my boyfriend? And they're like, oh no, he left a while ago. I'm like, what do you mean he left a while ago? He was supposed to come home and he ain't here. And anyways, I proceeded to like call him over the next like couple of hours, and he's not answering, which is just odd, right? Like he always would text me back. I've never had this issue with him before. By the time he gets home, I'm ready to throw all his shit out my window, because I'm like, what the hell is this guy's problem? And it was just weird. He said he like went to guy friends, ended up playing video games, just lost track of time, and his phone died. It was one of those weird like, it's either a coincidence or you're cheating kind of thing. And I just, to this, now that I'm older, I don't know if he was necessarily cheating or not, but it was still just a weird situation. Honestly, I just needed a break from him because we were too up each other's ass all the time, and I really just needed to kind of figure myself out, and I was young. So I told him, like, let's take a break, you move back to your place, because he still had his own apartment at the time. I'm like, let's give it a few weeks and, like, think about it kind of thing. And for the next like week, he's just hounding me every day, like, please take me back, I didn't cheat, I swear I'm not lying, that sort of thing. And I get it, but I'm like, dude, I just need a little bit of time to figure my shit out. So we're about a weekend, and me and my friend who worked there decided to have a girls' night, and I knew he was gonna be out and about too, but I didn't know where, because his guys were, I don't know if it was a bachelor party, but he was out and about too in the city. It was a really small town outside of Chicago. And me and my friend Tasha, we end up having a girls' night. We go to the first club, and we're having fun, and guys are trying to dance with me and stuff, and I'm like, no, because even though we weren't like in the relationship, I was still giving it. Even though we were on a break, I was still like,
Hold on, you were on a break? You didn't mention that.
I said give us time to think. I didn't say we're over, and keep in mind too,
But I feel like that's so open to interpretation.
I know.
I wonder why I didn't associate that with a break. Because to me, like, that's not
I know.
proper.
It's definitely, don't get me wrong, there's definitely a little bit of that, but keep in mind, like, for the week that he had moved out, every day the boy's begging me to come back, like every single day. And I'm like, let's just give it a little bit of space. That's what I said. I was like, let's give each other a little bit of space so we can think, so that we can think things through. And also, I'm still pissed at you, kind of thing. So we're at this one club, we get really, really drunk. And then we go on to this next club that's kind of like the after hours club. And we're in line, and we're waiting, and me and my friend Tasha, who also worked with me as well, we're just hanging out, and by the time we get like closer to the door, I look through the window. Lo and behold, there's my boyfriend grinding all over this girl, and just being over the top sexual with her. And here's my thought process. Earlier that day, boy was like crying, I miss you, I want to be with you, please, 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 please. And then like at this club, he sure as fuck didn't look like he remembered my name. Here's the problem. It was like a 15-minute wait in the snow, and I'm already drunk, and I just keep getting more.
I love that that's the problem you're pointing at right now.
No, well, I just keep getting more and more pissed as I'm like watching this whole spectacle in front of me, and my friend Tasha's like, that is so fucked up. Like, this boy is like playing, like he's during the day, he's swearing he's so in love with you, he doesn't, you know, he can never think of anyone else. Now here he is like grinding up on this girl, but before we can walk in, he starts full on tongue all over, like making out with her. Man, I walk in, we finally get in with her, and she's like, Heather, don't do it, don't do it. I walk up to him, and I like break him apart, and I'm like, you just fucked up. I was like, you just fucked up bad. And you could see his whole face was just like, you know, like he realized he just got caught. You know what I'm saying? It was, he had a face like, I just got caught. And, you know, keep in mind, at this point, I'm also kind of thinking maybe he was cheating on me. Maybe this guy is just a really good con artist. Tasha,
well, I mean, you caught him cheating on you.
Not really. I call him
Yes.
disappearing in a sense.
Yeah, but he was making it with her, wasn't he?
Well, yes, but this is
that's
a little
cheating.
different because it is questionable. Because it's like, well, we were taking time to think things through.
Okay, sure,
so,
I can see that. Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's arguable whether or not, you know. Okay, but either way, it's still fucked up. It's like, why are you?
Stupid.
You're sitting here saying how much you miss me and love me and want to be with me and stuff, and then that very night you're out like making out with a girl in a club. Like, it's just bad. It's poor judgment. It doesn't mean I couldn't do that. I couldn't, even when we were at the bar before, guys were asking me to dance, and I was like, kind of like, nah, I'm just doing my own thing. I'm here with my girl, because I was still trying to decide if I want to be with him or not, and I just felt it was wrong. I wouldn't even dance with guys, much less like make out with them. So, anyways, Tasha pulls me into the bathroom. And I remember we're in line, and she gets in the bathroom, and I get in the other stall, and Tasha's still talking, and I remember just going, fuck this, and I walked out. She didn't even know. When I left the bathroom, she was still, like, talking to me as though I was there. I go marching out of that bathroom, straight through the club, and he's still dancing with her, and I just heard him, and I straight up cold clocked him directly in his face, and I'm positive I was screaming cuss words. So I hit him, and then I was just kind of like slapping him on the shoulders and just telling him what a fucking asshole he was. I wasn't like hardcore attacking him, but I must have been like, the one punch was probably significant, and then the rest were just kind of like girl slaps. And the security had to pull me off of him, and he was just like, security has to pull me off of him. They kicked me out of this club. Tasha had my purse in her car. So I have no purse, okay, I have no shit, I'm outside, I have no phone, nothing. Everything of mine is in Tasha's car. Luckily, I was only about 3.5 blocks from where I live. So my stupid ass in heels and dress in the middle of goddamn winter snow is like running home. Like,
Without keys.
without anything. I could buzz my mom. We lived in that apartment where
Okay.
we could like, I was staying with my mom at the time. So I could like buzz her home in and be like, let me
So
in.
you moved out of the apartment with the boy, or he
Yeah,
moved? Okay.
well, we kind of switched between the two. He would stay with me sometimes, and I'd stay with him.
Gotcha.
It just depends. But a lot of times, I feel like he was at my house because he had a roommate, and I don't know. But yeah, I get home. My mom is like pissed that the club like threw me out without a taxi or money or any way of getting home. She's bitching at them. They're telling me I can never come back there. Tasha is like, where the fuck is Heather? So the next day, we all come to work. Me, Tasha, and my ex, because we all work together. Old boy has a straight up, like, you know, black nose, kind of, and like a mark on his head where my ring, like, cut him. And everyone at work is, like, calling me Rocky and, like, laughing their ass off about the whole
Do that now?
situation. It was so embarrassing. That being said, he tried for another, like, 6 or 7 months to try to get me back, and I would just never do it. And he was always, like, real pissed at me because he thinks I, like, judged him or overly judged him. I'm like, dude, you proved it that night. Any like possible nervousness I had, like if maybe I was making a bad decision or maybe you weren't that person, you kind of proved that night. Like, if you tell a girl that you love her, you don't want to be with anyone else but her, you miss her, desperately want her back, and then that very night you go and like make out with and or have sex with another girl, I don't know. That's
And you're
questionable.
also so dumb you got caught.
Yeah. Oh, you should have seen his face when I walked in. He was like, oh no, oh no. So yeah, that's the story of the time I committed assault on a person. Don't recommend. Again, don't recommend. Don't do that, guys.
I feel like that should be the subject of this video, the time that we committed assault.
I don't have anyone else I've assaulted, thankfully.
You haven't heard my story.
I know.
This is when it's like we're actually not that far away. Okay. So also, side note, we didn't talk about these stories beforehand, but they're not that different.
Okay.
Like they're different, but there's some similarities. I
Remember-
actually should say there's actually drastic differences, but there's some similarities.
Remember, these are stories about our craziest breakups, which I find
know.
kind of funny. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Also known as the times that we committed assault. Oh wow, I just got blown the fuck out. I don't know why. Nothing changed. Okay. So I was dating this man when I first moved to America, and I really adored him, and I like met all of his friends, and some of his friends, I was working at a fashion company, and some of his friends worked at the warehouse for this company. So this has to do with like that group of friends. So we were dating and living together, which is fine. I really loved him, and it was like the one time I've been love at first sight, like true story. That being said, this woman who worked at the warehouse, who was really, really beautiful, in like a warehouse working girl kind of way, but really beautiful, like kept on like making passive aggressive comments to like mutual people in our group that she was like gonna go after him. And I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Go to hell. Anyways, but she kept on trying. It progressed to a couple weeks later that one week she had like tried to get him drunk a couple times, and I was like, that's questionable. And I talked to him and I was like, maybe you shouldn't hang out with her like alone, or like when it's like her and two other people that always seem to disappear, you probably shouldn't hang out with her because she's openly saying this, you know, and it's very disrespectful.
It is to you,
Right.
absolutely.
So, and he wasn't supposed to. But again, like what would always happen is him and his friends would go out, they would get trashed, and then like most of them would kind of like disappear. Right.
Yeah, but
so it'd always be left to a couple people. So she just would always make sure it was like just her.
Right.
So for whatever reason, I was at the Bon Jovi concert with my girlfriend, who I don't even remember. I remember her, but I can't remember her name to save my life. Needless to say, once I left Ohio, where it was not close anymore.
Yeah.
But that being said, she was a friend of mine at the time. So we go to this club, like this college club, because it was in Ohio, which is a college town. Random pop, like right, like nowhere near the concert. Nowhere near the concert. Which is just so random, so fluke. And I was wearing like knee-high black leather boots, a cute little black mini skirt, and this really fabulous black sheer red, total Bon Jovi appropriate lace-up skimpy top.
Right.
Right? And we walk into this bar and we walk in and some guy's like, do you want a drink? And I'm like, yeah, we'll have a double vodka Red Bull each. So we get our drinks. Like, this is straight away, first thing that happens. Keep in mind, at these college bars, that was really common behavior because, like, drinks were $3 a piece.
Yeah.
It's Ohio. So, like, everyone's buying the girls' drinks. Like, let's just keep that real. So we start drinking our drinks, and I look over, and I see my boyfriend that lives with me making out with that girl. And I just, like, stared dumbfounded, and my friend clues in. She's like, oh, my God, we have to leave. And I was like, drink your drink. Drink it. She's like, okay, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm totally fine.
Oh, no.
It's fine. So we chug our drinks, and I take her cup, and I proceed to, it was like a really long bar, so I proceed to walk towards the back, and every empty I see, I just pour in the glass, like the little bit, right? 'Cause, like, there's no real empty, and people put their glasses down with like a bit of ice, and then it melts, until I have like two very tall, because they were double glasses, so they're like the big, like red cups, right? And then I walk up to him and I tap him on the shoulder, and he turns around because like he's not facing me. And he's like, hey honey, guess what I just saw you doing? I was like, don't worry, I'm not mad. In fact, I even brought you a drink. And I threw a drink on him. And I was like, don't worry, darling, I brought one for you too. And I threw it on her. And then I put the cups together, threw them at them, and like strutted off like a fucking movie star strut, like just telling you, like fucking Hollywood would have been proud. Like people were clapping, it was great. Everyone was just like, oh shit, like, and everyone knew because it was so loud. Like they just all knew. So then my friend like just followed me. She's like, oh shit. So we get in the car. Well then this girl takes his cell phone and starts texting me, which is like
only in Ohio,
the wrong thing to do, right? Like you just know, just know. And I'm fine. Like I'm totally like whatever. We're going home. Well, as soon as she starts trash talking my friend, I'm like, oh no, lines crossed.
Right.
So like people who know me, I can put up with a lot of insults. I can put up with a lot of derogatory shit. Don't talk stuff about people I adore. really pisses me off. So I have her drive the car around, and I had long earrings in. I was like, I'm gonna need to take these off, and you're gonna need to hold them. And you need to hold my purse and everything. And she's like, oh shit, what's going down? I was like, it's fine, totally fine, totally fine, it's fine. And I just barge in, and they're not there. And there was like a little half room upstairs that overlooked the main area, like the main dance floor part, with like 2 pool tables, 2 or 3 pool tables. So they weren't on the main floor, so I was like, maybe they're upstairs. So I see them in the far corner opposite the back stairs, which overlooks the floor. And so I just walk up to like, and she's like with him, and he's just like trashed beyond belief, obviously, and still like dumbfounded. Like you can tell, like he's trying to piece it together in his drunken state of mind, but he's like still like, oh shit, what happened? Right. She is much more sober, and I'm just like, what? Do you have something to say? Say it to my fucking face.
Right.
Well, then she does. So then I clocked her, and she says that I cracked her face open. I don't think my punch actually did. I clocked her, and she spun head first into a bar stool, and that cracked her head open. But then that bitch was still talking. So she had really long blonde hair. So I just grabbed her hair, and I wrapped it around my arm to keep her, and like I held her down, like put my arm like in lock.
Yeah.
So like she was like down by my knees, and I had scratch marks on my stomach when she was like reaching up to grab me. Yeah. And I was like literally, I was like picking her head up. I was like, shut up, I'm not talking to you right now. And then I would like bitch him out. I'd like bitch out the boyfriend. I'd be like, what's your problem? Like, how dare you do this to me? Like, you literally, all your stuff is going in the lawn. We're done. And again, like, he can barely talk, and I'm like, oh, this is frustrating. So then somewhere in that mix, I ripped out her earring, unintentionally. I mean, arguably. I mean, I intended to rip her by the hair and toss her around a little bit, but I didn't legitimately intend to rip an ear out. So I threw her off to the side, and she went spiraling. And I noticed that she had a really nice, like, it was a Coach bag. That's what it was, a little Coach bag.
Yeah.
And I forget what she said, but she said something to me that really pissed me off again. Like, she just wouldn't keep her mouth shut.
Right.
So I grabbed her bag, and I grabbed the beer, and I was gonna like throw the bag over into the crowd of people, and I was like, no, I'm not that mean.
Right.
So then I just poured the beer in it.
Yeah.
To destroy it.
Yeah.
And then threw it at her. And I was like, and then I just like looked at her like, if you have anything else to say to me, it'll be the last thing you say. And she didn't say anything else. I was like, good, then we're done here. We're done here. Okay. And walked off, and there were like 2 people on the other end who were just like speechless. Like they were just like, what the fuck is this?
Where's the popcorn when I need it?
Like they just did not know what to do. Like they were just like, they're like, anyways, so yeah, so then I broke up with him, and then he promised to get help because he was a raging alcoholic, and I took him back. Yeah. Because that's
because you were young. I mean, it happens.
That mistake.
Yeah, no, it happens with everyone.
I really did love him, and yeah. And I was in fear because I was like, holy crap, I could totally get deported for this.
Yeah.
And at one point they were like thinking that they were saying they were going to press charges. And I was like, well, I did it, and I'm sure I'm on a lot of videotapes. Like,
yeah, right.
I was also like, keep in mind where that happened, it was very well lit because it was the pool table. I was like, in hindsight, I probably should have lured her someplace darker, where at least I'd have a hope in hell of saying, no,
it wasn't
judge,
me.
That's not me. But
Me.
as it stood, I was like, no, man, whatever they have, if they find any video, like, it's gonna be clearly, obviously me. Like,
right. Well, it is a different situation because the girl knew what she was doing. She was just being a
she
cunt.
did, and it was like plotted, and I was sick of it. And I thought that my boyfriend at the time was smarter. Just side note, he was not.
No, they usually aren't, though, are they? But yeah, no.
Well, I mean, not at that age.
No, I feel like not at any age. If you have how often have you seen a man just consistently turn down a woman who is good looking and constantly throwing herself at them? It's hard.
True.
It becomes an issue, and
but it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
If you're in a committed relationship, it shouldn't be.
I agree. It shouldn't be.
That should just be what you do.
Right. No, definitely not.
It should be your default.
I agree, but as a young guy, especially, young men are stupid.
Well, I think the thing was with him is once he hit a certain point of intoxicated, he was blackout drunk.
Yeah, and then you just wasn't thinking correctly or making
like, he didn't even so much remember this incident as he heard, like, so many people telling it to him.
Right.
From, like, her standpoint, because she was much more sober.
Right.
So. But yeah, and I was not charged. Everything was fine. I foolishly took him back. We never hung out. She was, like, banned from the little group that we were with, so.
Well, there you go.
I wish I remembered her name. I remember what she looks at. Because I do know, like, she had sex with one of the guys in the group, and then she had shit all over the bed and then smeared it somehow on the wall. And it was like a big, huge catastrophe. And I'm like, oh my God, how does that even happen?
Too drunk.
But like, these people would get so, these people, I mean, obviously they weren't my friends, they were his friends, and he had a severe drinking problem, which should be clear. But they like drank to such unrealistic, like, one guy died from drinking on their sofa. He literally died. So like, they were really, really like the extremist of the extremist.
Right.
So.
That's why you shouldn't drink that much, kids. It's not good for you. But also, don't assault people.
Don't. It's bad. We say that we did that, and it was a rash mistake.
It was in the heat of the moment. And I definitely, like, I did
I
apologize.
still don't think I did not.
I honestly, I get it. It's a bit different of a situation. Like, if I knew the girl.
I still don't apologize now.
No, if I knew the girl and she did that to me and she was going after.
And she was sober, and he was very much, like, barely
right,
able to walk.
He was barely able to walk.
Like, he would have made it with a tree if you.
And it's not like you literally just beat the living ever loving out of her. You tossed her around a little bit.
No, and I also, like, I kept on giving her an opportunity to shut up, and then she wouldn't.
And that's how you get your ass whooped, kids.
Right? Like, there's a time and a place to
just shut up. Yeah. Like, if you have any humility at all, you just shut up.
But also, like, keep in mind, you were at a bar after getting my boyfriend trashed, making out with him after telling people that you were going to try to steal a movie from me.
Right.
Like, the time to think that I'm going to be sympathetic to you is not in that moment.
Right. Nope.
But I wouldn't do it then. I wouldn't do it now. I would just walk away because they're not worth it.
No, I agree.
Like, I didn't sleep that whole night. I was like, this is it. I'm getting charged and I'm getting deported. And I went to work the next day, and my boss was really cool because it was like my first year of being in Ohio. And I was like, so this happened. She was like, well, hopefully nobody presses charges, and they didn't. But I was like, also keep in mind, because it was technically, like, we weren't under the same company, but we kind of were. They were like the warehouse of the company. It could
be a work thing. Yep.
Also, like a classes thing, right? Because she was at the warehouse, I was at so it was just like a whole big mess, and I was completely panicked for like a month and a half that I was going to get in major trouble. And for the record, I never really did. And that should have been a warning that I took more seriously. And it wasn't. So if you're watching this, don't take them back.
No.
Never ends well.
No, it doesn't. And I always say trust your gut too. Like, at the end of the day, you know when something isn't right, when something, as long as you're not a super paranoid person, I guess. But you know, I tend to think the best of people, so it takes a lot for me to have those kind of intuitions. So I do feel like trusting your gut is the best way to go.
But also something to be said for fate. Like, for me, like, again, like, I'd never been to this bar. It was not near where we were. She wasn't a regular. It was literally just like, oh, I heard about this bar that I've been meaning to check out. Want to go?
Right.
You know, like, it was just like, of all the bars that were in this city that we lived in, to like run directly into them. And also, it was like a good 40 minutes from where they normally hung out, because they hung out like way north of the main part, and this was like in downtown.
See, I question whether or not my dude came to the bar because he knew we'd be going there next, because he knew our night plans, and that also pissed me off at the time. But yeah, there you go. So there is our crazy breakup/assault stories. What are yours?
Tell us we're not the only ones.
Yes, please let us know in the comments below if you have any crazy stories similar to that. Otherwise, as always, check out our Patreon. We offer amazing perks monthly to all those
this is how we keep doing new videos.
It is, and we appreciate it so very much. Hope you're having an amazing December. Bye.
Stay bloody.
Thank you so much for checking out Scream Queen Stream. We hope you loved it as much as we do.
If you want to see more of our videos, check out our YouTube page. And while you're there, how about you subscribe? You want to see more? Just tweet us. Find us on Facebook. Join in on the fun.
And most importantly, if you really want to join us on this crazy ride, check out our Patreon page and become a patron for amazing, awesome perks that we give out monthly.
As well as early access to all of our videos.
Free giveaways.
And a whole lot more fun shit.
So check it out.
We'll see you there.
Stay bloody.
You stole my tagline.
I did.
You're a horrible friend.